So it's fall, it's football time, and for many organizations, it's also strategic planning time. Typically, as part of strategic planning, people do a SWOT analysis. Unfortunately, those are often poorly done. We either get bad information, the information is jumbled up, or we don't know what to do with it once we have it. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to facilitate a SWOT in a way that gets you great information and prompts better strategy. Now, in all transparency, this is actually going to be a longer video, even by my standards. This one is for OD nerds. If you're more into my leadership videos, you may want to check out some of the other links. But if you have to do strategic planning, today's video is for you. It's SWOT time. Today we're going to discuss how you get real value from this SWOT exercise. But before I get into this slideshow, let me just say that there's a ton of information in this video to share with you. My goal is that by the end of this video, you are actually ready to facilitate a SWOT in a way that brings real value to your clients, whether you're an external or an internal organization development consultant. Because there is so much information, I'm not going to speak to everything that's on each of the slides. So what I'm going to do right now is give you official permission. If you want to take a screenshot of any part of this video and use the questions and the information as part of your own SWOT facilitation, please feel free to do so. All I ask is that you properly credit me as one of your sources and point to my website, https://rfblive.com, in pulling it together. That being said, let's start at the beginning. If we're going to do a good SWOT analysis, we need to be specific about our terms and what they mean. We use the words strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats in everyday speech. But these terms have particular meaning as they relate to strategic planning. In this context, strengths refer to the capabilities, the resources that we possess or can more advantageously access than our competitors. These provide us competitive advantage. Weaknesses are capabilities or resources that we really should have to be in the business that we're in now, but either we don't have them at all, or we can't access them at the same level as quickly or as inexpensively as our competition can. Here's important distinction number one. Strengths and weaknesses aren't that way intrinsically or in the absolute sense. They are only deemed strengths and weaknesses based upon how we compare to our competition. Our company can be very strong in a particular capability, and yet it's not a competitive advantage for us. Let's say, for example, that we're an accounting firm, and that we're extremely accurate. While accuracy may be something that we're good at, we wouldn't consider it a strength in the context of a SWOT, because every accounting firm needs to be accurate and will be accurate. Accuracy is simply part of the cost of doing business. On the other hand, if our accounting firm has unbelievable customer service relative to our competitors, that would be listed as a strength in our SWOT. While the scan for strengths and weaknesses is an internal search, as we look for opportunities and threats, we're scanning our external environment. Opportunities are those external markets, forces, or conditions or changes that we can exploit now to increase our business capabilities or our results. Threats are those situations, forces, conditions, etc., which may blindside us if we don't properly guard against them and really hurt our business capabilities or our results. And here's important distinction number two. Opportunities and threats aren't always and forever opportunities or threats for us, at least not necessarily so. They represent changing circumstances which, for our organization where it is in its development right now, stand out as either something we can more readily capture or which we should more purposefully avoid. Now that we know our terms, how do you get good information to go into these buckets? Here are some questions that you may want to ask. For strengths, we might ask, What do we do better than our competition? What do others see as strengths? What factors help us to get the sale? For weaknesses, some questions might be, what resources do we lack that our competitors can access? Or which resources do we need for our business but which cost us more than our competition? To uncover opportunities, we might ask, what changes in technology or markets might present an opening? Which markets or potential customers do our strengths position us to serve at a competitive advantage? And for threats, we would want to scan for any new technologies that might threaten our position. We might discuss where our competitors are gaining market share at our expense and why. At this point, let me share a tip with you about facilitation mechanics. When I facilitate a SWOT with a client, I typically have the group consider each of the 4 areas, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, one category at a time. But when we're looking at a particular category, I'll put all of the questions that I want to ask for that category up on the screen at once so that everybody can see all of them and then respond to whichever one of those questions resonates with them personally. This typically produces good data more quickly than by taking each question one at a time. And of course, these are only sample questions. They work well for me, but feel free to add questions that you think would work in your environment. Now let's look at the kind of information that we expect to come out of a SWOT when it's well facilitated. Here's sample data from a fictitious company called ACME Consulting, a one-person consulting firm, when the owner performed her own SWOT. As she looked internally and asked for feedback from customers and other stakeholders, her ability to engage the group and really get them involved in her presentations was head and shoulders above her competition. She also demonstrates a marked ability to modify her presentation style for her audience, guiding a C-suite in the morning and then putting on her steel toes the same day to coach foremen out on the shop floor. She's not perfect, of course. Her weaknesses include an absence of terminal degrees, usually expected in her profession, and an absence of any product-based income stream. Many people in the consulting world also sell assessments and other products, but she doesn't have anything like that to even out her income stream. As for opportunities, this consultant serves an industry that is rapidly expanding, and startups with 25 people a day may have 100 employees or more by year's end. And once a company reaches a certain size, the owners no longer know everyone. Other folks have to step up as leaders, so leadership development becomes a real felt need, and there's no one on staff to meet that need because HR capacity usually lags behind company growth. She also feels that her strength in guiding executive discussions, the abundance of readily available information, and the fact that she has less overhead, that the 3 of these factors position her well to compete against larger firms in 2 niche consulting areas. That is, guiding company reorgs and facilitating culture change. While these larger specialty firms have greater name recognition, they'll charge an arm and a leg to study a client organization and then tell them what to do. In her experience, most executive teams know their business better and can make these kind of decisions for themselves. They just need a process to help them think and plan, which she does very well and can provide for far less coin. What threats does she see? She's working in the learning and development space, and yet client companies are saying that they have less and less time for their people to attend training. There's also a lot of information about leadership out there. Anyone can turn on YouTube and get what they think is really good leadership development, and our consultant sees that as a threat to her business long term. So now we have the full SWOT set. So what do you do with it? How do you use it intelligently? Let me walk you through a few more questions, and I think you'll start to notice some themes between each of these sets of questions. For strengths, how might you leverage these strengths that you identify? Use them in other ways or highlight them. We want you to identify what you will do differently to exploit the strengths. Which weaknesses present a real capability difference between you and your competition? What will be done differently to close those gaps? What opportunities seem promising? What can you do differently to promote the kind of factors that will cause those opportunities to emerge as paid work. And threats. What can you do differently to prevent, avoid, or recover from any significant threat? And here's important distinction number 3. A SWOT is only valuable to the degree that it prompts you to build strategies that are different than your normal modus operandi. It should prompt you to think and behave differently. Back to our example. Based upon the information that we shared earlier about our consultant, she might choose to highlight her ability to engage groups and speak to a wide audience to capture that reorganization work. As she looks at her weaknesses and the threats, she might want to take a course in the client's industry to get up to speed on those terms or develop consulting arrangements with other solo practitioners. She might want to produce a white paper on the differences in learning outcomes. And any and all of these strategies would be appropriate use of SWOT information. And occasionally, when you get all of your SWOT information in front of you, there's a real sweet spot. A strategy that you can implement that addresses multiple elements within your SWOT. As we look at our consultant's information, in total, one of her strengths is a library of custom videos that she's created over time and the ability to create more. She has, as a weakness, an absence of a product-based income stream. Her clients have less time to step away and attend in-person training, and some of her opportunities are with growing companies with smaller HR departments that have no L&D function. What action might she take that could address multiple issues here? How might she leverage a strength while she addresses a weakness? What action or actions might position her to capture an opportunity while guarding against the threat? What if she were to invest heavily in development, marketing, and monetization of the video content? It takes a strength that she already has, her video production capability in her library. It potentially becomes the source of an income stream that will help even out her cash flow over time. She's then able to go to smaller companies that are growing and say, hey, not only can I assist you with in-person training, we can also put some of these videos on your LMS so that you can expand your reach, continue to do leadership development in ways that don't require your people to be away for extended periods of time. Now, it's not always this clean, but on the other hand, combinations like this example are often there if you search for them. And a SWOT should guide our discovery process toward just such ends. Too often, we're just left with meaningless data. We've done a SWOT, but it hasn't really impacted our thinking. This example, on the other hand, is what a SWOT should do. And I hope that a SWOT, what it is, what it elicits, and how to facilitate it correctly is a bit clearer to you as I round out this video. Done well, a SWOT analysis helps us identify those actions that are truly strategic and which moves our organizations forward. And thanks for watching today's video. If you need assistance with strategic planning, please reach out to me. I can help you in ways that are very effective and cost efficient. If, on the other hand, you have internal OD or HR consultants who guide strategic planning within your organization, I'd like to talk with you about my Train the Facilitator process, where I pass along this knowledge, these skills, and related ones so that you get the most out of your strategic planning efforts. As always, if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share through your social network. Until next time, be well.